You guys know I kill the channel mogul mail, okay? But that doesn't mean occasionally I don't like talking about stuff that's happening in the world. And today especially, there's stuff that you almost necessarily need to know a little bit about. Even if you don't care an iota about politics, even if you're not American, what's happened today, we're going to feel for a little bit in the future. It's going to change things. It's going to change things. So let's talk about what happened, if you don't know, between Elon Musk and Donald Trump, okay? And now, bear in mind, this is a layman's explanation. I don't have a political science degree. I'm a professionally trained journalist who worked as a professional journalist for 6 weeks, and I got fired from my job. But I think I did enough Googling to figure out what the fuck's going on, and hopefully I can explain it to y'all today. Anyway, it all starts with Elon Musk. Now, you guys know Elon Musk joined the Trump presidency by leading the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, right? We all know this. He led DOGE for 6 months. They cut billions of dollars by, removing the funding from America from like a, I don't know, water well in Senegal and saved billions on the trillions of dollars we currently spend. Okay. Cut some cancer research here, cut some USAID there. Anyway, look, Elon Musk was a leader of Doge, and just a week ago, officially got offboarded. So Elon Musk was a part of Doge as a special government employee, and last Wednesday exited, which was not a shock at all. And tweeted out, as my scheduled time as a special government employee comes to an end, I would like to thank President Donald Trump for the opportunity to reduce wasteful spending. The Doge mission will only strengthen over time as it becomes a way of life throughout the government, and left. Okay. Now, the question is, why did he leave? All right. The answer, because it wasn't good for business. All right. While Elon Musk was running Doge, Tesla was struggling. All right. And when they announced their Q1 2025, oh shit, we ran ads. Oh, my bad. I should have ran ads before. That's my bad. That's bad timing. I'll wait. My bad, man. I should have ran them before. I forgot. Thank you very much, though, SLD Dream, for the Twitch Prime. I can't believe you complained about people watching One Piece on TikTok when you watched all of Suits through shorts and whole-ass movies. The difference is One Piece's peak, and I would have never watched Suits, okay? I would have never watched Suits if it wasn't for shorts. And it's different, bro. Me watching a 45-second short about this guy going, I know I didn't go to Harvard, but I still can sue your ass, is different than somebody watching a 4-hour AI narrated Egghead arc explainer. It's different. Anyway, look, back to it. All right. Sorry about the ads. No more ads. Back to it. The reason Elon Musk, or maybe one of the reasons Elon Musk left Doge, is because Tesla was struggling horrendously ever since he started his political work. After the first quarter, Tesla reported that they had a 20% drop in auto revenue. Their stock was down 41%. Basically, the way it works is a publicly traded company sets an expectation to their shareholders on how well they're going to do. And then it comes time to announce how well they did based off expectations. And they fucking missed their expectations massively. And in fact, Q1 for Tesla was one of the worst quarters they've had ever in the history of the entire company. It was bad. It was a bad quarter for Tesla. And this shouldn't come as a big surprise to you guys if you have been seeing anything online. A lot of people now don't just say, I'm not interested in an electric vehicle. They specifically go, fuck Tesla, right? There's a cohort of people that are not just not interested, they're specifically against Tesla as a company. And why are they against Tesla as a company? Is it because the product isn't good? No. It really has nothing to do with the product. It has to do with Elon Musk's political interventions. And this comes from Elon himself. All right. 7 minutes into the broadcast where Elon was talking about how Tesla was doing. This is after the quarter one announcement. He said he attributed part of the company's headwinds to public disapproval for his role as an advisor to President Trump and head of the Department of Government Efficiency initiative, and said, he won't be leaving Doge and will likely keep the role through President Trump's term. Now, that was a fucking lie. He absolutely left. And I don't think after today he will continue to work with Trump. But it is true. It is true that Tesla took a massive hit from Elon's political interventions. And after leaving, what was thought to be somewhat amicable, right? It was thought that Elon would leave Doge. And the reason he was leaving is because he would go to Tesla and he would do the Elon thing. Because if you don't know how Elon operates, he basically goes to whatever company's struggling. He spends 24 hours sleeping on the floor and making everybody hustle to get everything working. And he clutches up somehow last second. And then he goes to his next company that is failing and struggling and does that with them and so on and so forth. All right. And so all the Elon Musk stories is basically him working at SpaceX for 6 months, figuring it out, fixing it, then going to Tesla for 6 months, figuring out, fixing it. And then that was his idea with Doge. You'd go to Doge and do that. The issue is you can't fix a government in 3 or 6 months. Okay. We've been putting ourselves in a hole for the last, I don't know. One was 1776. And so that hole is a lot bigger to dig yourself out of. So that didn't work. And so his idea was, okay, he was going to go back to Tesla. He was going to fix everything there, but he might still work on Doge occasionally. But as he departed, there were hints that there was a fracture between him and Donald Trump. Specifically, when just about like a few days after, the same day that Elon Musk left, Trump announced that he withdrew the nomination for the head of NASA, Jared Isaacman. Okay? Now, Jared Isaacman, he's this billionaire. He works in the space industry. He's a good friend of Elon Musk, and he's the guy that Elon suggested to Donald Trump to lead NASA. And real space heads are fans of Jared, okay? Real space heads will tell you, I'm not a real space head. I can't chime in here. But from what I can tell, real space heads are fans of Jared Isaacman. They think he has good aspirations and initiatives for America's space program. So the withdrawal wasn't because a lack of initiative on Jared's part or because he was bad for the role. It was said it was because after a thorough review, they had some concerns about his prior associations. Very vague. But it's not so vague because it came the exact same day Elon Musk left. And Jared Isaacman himself, when asked why he was removed, said, I have a pretty good idea. I don't think the timing was much of a coincidence. Obviously, there's more than one departure that was covered on that day. And so in his own words, he thinks he was booted as the head of NASA because Elon Musk was ousted the same day. And this was a bit of retribution from Trump and Trump's cabinet to Elon Musk. And Elon Musk himself on Twitter pointed out some of the hypocrisy because he quote retweeted a Donald Trump tweet and he said, this is what he had said about Jared. Here's the Trump tweet about Jared. I am delighted to nominate Jared Isaacman, an accomplished businessman, leader, philanthropist, pilot, astronaut as administrator of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Jared will drive NASA's mission, yada, yada, yada. Basically glazing the guy. Okay. And then like Nintendo, he switched up. Yes, sir. And same day as Elon kicked him out. Okay, so a little bit of beef behind the scenes, but you have to wonder why. Okay, now there's some thought that Elon was ruffling feathers behind the scenes. He was trying to operate government like a business, but people in government, bureaucrats, don't really like that. So maybe that's part of it. But one big thing that Elon Musk has been doing is talking shit. All right. Elon Musk, even while at Doge, has been talking shit on Trump's big, beautiful bill. He's been talking a lot of shit. And after he left, kind of went mask off. And he said, I'm sorry, I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it. And if you go through his Twitter and you scroll through like yesterday all the way back to like May 22nd, when Congress first passed this bill, he's just spam tweeting how dog shit this bill is. He's spam tweeting how dog shit this bill is. And he's not wrong. Dude, Connor's tweet, welcome to the resistance, hashtag Antifa. By the way, he's not wrong here. Okay, so a little background. Trump has been pushing this big, beautiful bill, which, by the way, you know, a lot of things Trump does I disagree with. One thing I will admit that he did was pretty fucking annoying, but maybe clever, was calling this shit the big, beautiful bill. Because every time I look this up, I have to look up like big, beautiful bill spending. It's a bit catchy. I'll give it to him. It's a bit catchy. It sounds nice. But the thing is, if it sounds nice, it doesn't mean it's nice. That bill is fucking dog shit. That bill is absolute ass. All right. And we'll talk about why in a moment. But before we talk about why it's ass, it got passed in the House. All right. It got passed in the House in a razor thin vote, 215 votes to 214. All right. So it barely passed the House. And this big, beautiful bill was pushing through. Now, we'll talk about, again, in a moment, why the bill is bad. But just stick with me. Elon Musk hates this bill. Trump is desperately trying to push this bill through. He barely gets it through Congress. And if we remember our song, okay, how does a bill become a law? If it gets proposed in the Congress, well, then it gets sent to the Senate, who have to have another majority vote. And if it passes the Senate, then it goes to the president's desk, and then he signs off, or he has the opportunity to veto, and then it becomes law. Okay, that's the idea. On just a bill. That's the idea. And the good news for Donald Trump is that they being the Republican Party, have the power in the House and the Senate. All right, so it's already passed the House. The House is done. They got it through. And now it has to pass in the Senate. And luckily for the Republicans, they have 53 seats in the Senate. So a majority is 51. It should be easy enough for them to pass through. However, there's starting to be not a fracture. What's bigger than a fracture? A ravine in the Republican Party. All right. A ravine is forming in the Republican Party because Republicans are made up of, as far as I can tell, two big groups: MAGA Republicans and tech Republicans. Okay. So MAGA Republicans are just people who fucking goddamn love freedom. They love Christian values and they love Donald J. Trump. And then we have our tech Republicans who are just really, really fabulously wealthy tech entrepreneurs who like saving money, making a lot of fucking money. That's really it. They fucking love money. They love money and what they can do with money. That's really what they love doing. They fucking love money and what they can do with money. All right. And so there's a rift between the two. And then there's also like, traditional Republicans, and traditional Republicans are against big government and big spending from government. So there's a lot of backlash amongst Republicans on the big, beautiful bill. And Republican senators like Rand Paul, who is kind of the lead voice on this, are kind of saying, hey, not a big fan of the bill as it is. All right. And there's some rifts. And it's not just Republicans like Elon Musk or Rand Paul who are talking shit on this bill. Basically, every single lib is also a hater. In fact, the three biggest, and shout out Pride Month, gayest liberals I know hate this bill. All right. They absolutely hate this bill and they talk shit on it constantly. So this is a shared value between tech Republicans and the biggest liberals. They can reach across the aisle to agree this bill sucks. So it begs the question, what the fuck is this bill? Now, here's the reality. This bill, I think in its totality is 1,000+ pages. And this is just the overview. Okay. Nobody's really reading this bill. So I put together a team that I hired. I asked ChatGPT. Like every other American, I asked ChatGPT, what the fuck is the big, beautiful bill? And the simple answer is it is an extension of a bill that already passed. All right. So there's a bill in 2017 that made tax cuts. Specifically, they had tax cuts for individuals and then tax cuts for businesses. And those were supposed to expire. And this bill will make them not expire. Okay. These tax cuts, which I looked into, help me a lot. They're super awesome for me. Basically make people who make a good amount of money pay less taxes. Okay. So the two big ones is you lower your tax rate. For example, the highest tax bracket for federal taxes is 39%. So if you make over, I think it's like $400,000, you pay 39% in taxes for every dollar over that amount. And it cuts it down to like 37%. Okay. Saving a couple of percent there. Not bad. It also makes permanent a pass-through deduction. So 20% of your qualified business income, you can now like take off your taxable income. So basically, it benefits anyone who has like an LLC, an S corp, or people who are making over like $100,000. That's the people it really helps. And it also has some of the buzzword things that Trump has been pushing, like no taxes on tips. There's increased child tax credit. It has a bonus deduction for seniors over 65. What about the poor people? That's a good question. So as far as it goes for poor people, that's how they're paying for it. They're offsetting the costs by making cuts to Medicaid and SNAP, and also clean energy credits. So thankfully, because, I'm trying to make more money here so I can fuel the economy, that would be bad because that's spending so much money. I can, thankfully, take all this money cut from SNAP to help me out. And that's the idea of the bill, which for obvious moral reasons, okay, a lot of people are against, morally, people are against the idea that we should offer cuts to already wealthy people in a climate where it's very difficult to even pay for groceries and then get a Switch 2 for your kid because a Switch 2 is $500 and groceries are more expensive and shit's hard enough as is. All right. This is not even the reason why I think this bill won't pass. Republicans who are being urged to vote for this bill aren't being urged to reach to their sensibilities about how cuts to SNAPs and reduced taxes aren't good for the poor, for the average person. They are doing it because they don't want more debt. Debt is a problem that we have been struggling with as a country since Bill Clinton. All right, for a long, long time. We got a lot of debt. And we are spending more than ever. And historically, Republicans always kind of ran on a make government smaller, spend less money, and write our debt. Okay, while also cutting taxes. And Democrats are run on a let's spend more fucking money, but also we'll make the billionaires pay for it. Okay, but when the Democrats were actually in power, what they did was not increase taxes. They didn't lower taxes. They didn't increase taxes, though, and they increased spending. All right? That's basically what Joe Biden did. Joe Biden doesn't actually increase taxes to do all this. He just kind of maybe says that. There's an implication of it, but taxes stay the exact same, and he spent more money. The Republicans coming in were like, okay, we're actually going to correct the budget, but now not only are they still spending more money, they're also trying to cut taxes while spending more money, which just doesn't math. It just doesn't make sense. All right. It just doesn't make sense. You can't spend more money and cut taxes at the same time. The money has to come from somewhere. We can't borrow ourselves out of our debt problem. And this bill, as it stands, according to economists, will add $2.4 trillion to our debt. That is the idea. It'll add $2.4 trillion to our debt. And our debt's already pretty fucking big. Here's a fun little US debt clock website. It shows our US national debt is closing in on $37 trillion. And the big stat that is kind of being thrown around right now. Okay, there's a lot of different things to look at. Chet, what do you know as like the biggest spenders? Like, what's the biggest thing that we as a country love spending money on? The U.S. military. Now, the U.S. military actually isn't the largest thing that we spend on. It's Medicare, Medicaid, followed by Social Security, and then the final thing is our military. We spend almost $1 trillion on our military. But there's a new big spender. In fact, something has overtaken the amount of money we spend on the military. Can you guess what it is? It's not Medicare, Medicaid. It's not Social Security. There's a new thing that we spend money on. Interest. We are spending $1 trillion on the interest of all the debt that we owe. So straight up, you just have to clock off $1 trillion. We can't use it for anything else but paying the countries back who we have borrowed money from. Okay? Which that's getting kind of high. That is, I think it's like a 25% of our GDP. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Now, good news, it is short term. Okay, because the Senate actually figured out a solution for this. We are spending $1 trillion on interest, and it actually surpassed how much we are spending on the military. The Senate found out a solution, and to fix it, they're going to spend more money on the military. Because if we spend more money on the military, then technically the amount we spend on interest won't surpass it. So as long as we're spending more on the military, we just have to put more money in it. Interest won't be the third highest thing. And then that you can get rid of the headline. You know, when Elon Musk goes on stage and says stuff like this.
Extremely quickly. And nobody seems to, everyone seems to be sort of whistling past the graveyard on this one. You know, the Defense Department budget is a very big budget, okay? It's $1 trillion a year, DoD, Intel, it's $1 trillion. And interest payments on the national debt just exceeded the Defense Department budget. They're over $1 trillion a year, just in interest, and rising. We're adding $1 trillion to our debt, which our kids and grandkids are going to have to pay somehow every 3 months. And
so he is right. The Senate Republicans actually did propose adding $150 billion to the big, beautiful bill to modernize our military because they couldn't figure that out with the first $900 billion. So $150 billion more is going to get them there. But this is a real problem. Right? And the way people usually try to explain the issues with debt, right? Like, why can't you just borrow infinitely? We're America, the US dollar is the supreme trading tool. Okay, good one. That's a good zinger. And then follows up and says, Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted, that he knew for months I was going to do. And he just went crazy. So, he's saying that Elon Musk is actually mad because EV mandates are being removed, which is going to hurt his business, and also takes a shot at Elon on the way out. All right, in response to Elon talking shit on the big, beautiful bill and the debt problem. Elon fires back. Says such an obvious lie, so sad. And quote retweets Autism Capital, who posted Trump's True Social. And then he follows up and says, whatever. Keep the EV solar incentive cuts in the bill, even though no oil and gas subsidies are touched. Very unfair. But ditch the mountain of disgusting pork in the bill. In the entire history of civilization, there has never been legislation that are both big and beautiful. Everyone knows this. Either you get a big and ugly bill or a slim and beautiful bill. Slim and beautiful is the way. Okay? So that's what he is saying. And I think it's fair to take Elon Musk at his word. I don't think Elon Musk is secretly trying to get this bill revoked because he doesn't want EV mandates to go away so that Tesla can perform better. I don't actually think that's real. And the reason I don't think that is because Elon Musk himself has been pretty consistent on being okay with subsidies in the EV credits being removed. Okay. He posted this. This was today. He said, this was me in 2021. Let's watch this.
We don't need the $7,500 tax credit. I would say, honestly, I would just can this whole bill. Don't pass it. That's my recommendation.
What about the support, though, for the charging network? I mean, there are parts of this bill. And no?
No. I mean, do we need support for gas stations? We don't. So there's no need for this for support for a charging network. I would delete it. Delete.
It is a Macklemore-esque haircut, no? That is a tough. That is a chopped cut. I won't lie. That's a chopped cut. So anyway, that's Elon Musk responding to Trump's more substantial claims that Elon Musk is motivated by EV mandates. But then Trump also gets a little bit personal. Not crazy personal, he gets a little bit personal.
He wanted that person, a certain person, and we said no. And, I can understand why he's upset. Remember, he was here for a long time. You saw a man who was very happy when he stood behind the Oval desk. And even with the black eye, I said, you want a little makeup? We'll get you a little makeup. But he said, no, I don't think so, which is interesting.
Just brings up that Elon had a black eye and kind of out of the blue. Like, this is days after Elon left, and just kind of, he's kind of babbling about how Elon had a black eye. And just, that's interesting. It's kind of weird. And it's true. Elon did stand behind Donald Trump with the black eye. So, and it's weird that he didn't want any makeup for it, but okay, what it is, what it is. And so in response to this, Elon Musk decided to tweet out, time to drop the really big bomb. Donald Trump is a pedophile. I mean, okay, I paraphrase, but basically he said that. There's no real thing Donald Trump said outside of that. It's not like Donald Trump started with this, but he did drop what, at least in our culture, is the biggest bomb you can drop, which is you're a pedophile. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the only reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, Donald Trump, Donald J. Trump. He just outright fucking says it. And then he says, mark this post for the future. The truth will come out. Which, a lot of people instantly hearken back to Drake and Kendrick. And it is similar, right? It is similar where Drake is, sort of throwing out little pop shots at Kendrick Lamar, and he's making fun of him for, not wearing the pants in his relationship. And then Kendrick releases a song. It's like, you're a pedophile. You're a pedophile and you like little children. You're a pedophile and LeBron James shouldn't have his family around you because you're a pedophile. And similar, Elon Musk went the Kendrick Lamar route here. And he doubled and tripled down on this, by the way. Because he also started quote retweeting just random followers who started dropping, evidence of Donald Trump being friends with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, we don't know if Donald Trump is in the Epstein files for sure. It's not the worst bet you could make. If you're a conspiracy theorist, it's not the craziest one. It really isn't. It would be like a mild surprise, like finding out that Nintendo released Mario Kart without online support day one. You'd be like, oh, I mean, I wouldn't have done that myself, but it's not surprising.
As women are dancing in front of them, Trump alternates between dancing.
So, you can look into it, but there are a bunch of just historical articles, pieces of evidence of Epstein being great friends with Donald Trump. Epstein likes to tell people that he's a loner, a man who's never touched alcohol or drugs, and one whose nightlife is far from energetic. And yet, if you talk to Donald Trump, a different Epstein emerges. I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. Trump booms from speakerphone. He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it. Jeffrey enjoys his social life. And these are all now being promoted by Elon Musk, which you have to also remember, Elon Musk is the biggest voice on X, one of the biggest political voices right now, and also staunchly Republican, or at least has been ever since he bought X. So it's creating a divide in the party. He was a Democrat. Yeah, he was a Democrat way back. But since he has been, I would say, very actively political, he has been Republican. He was a Democrat before he was really in politics. Like he was like one of those tech Dems who would donate, $500K to something and not speak on it. He's been staunchly Republican, throwing on the MAGA hat for a while now. So anyway, he keeps firing off. He says, in light of president's statements about the cancellation of my government contracts, SpaceX will begin decommissioning its Dragon spacecraft immediately. Which this would both end the International Space Station and simultaneously provide no way to safely deorbit it. Because the American government is using SpaceX to shuttle stuff to and from the International Space Station. So he's getting petty here. And he's going nuclear on Donald Trump. And also starts throwing out, without me, Trump would have lost the election. Democrats would control the House and the Republicans would be 51-49 in the Senate. And no matter what you think about Elon Musk, he is low-key spitting. That is true. I 100% do not think that Trump would have won if not for Elon Musk. I think he's right on this. I think Trump buying X.com for $44 billion, dumping all of his money away into the ocean, but then also using it to instantly uplift a bunch of right-wing voices clearly works. Yeah, excuse me, Elon. Not Trump. Elon doing that. Like, this clearly worked. I think you'd have to be blind to say that the election wasn't influenced by Elon's purchase of X. Like, it changed social discourse instantly. And I think it led to the Republicans winning and other things. Like, I don't know. People calling people gay now. I think that also came from that. And the R word, which I'm still not saying. But that's back too. That all came back in the same fell swoop. There was a big shift from when Elon bought X. And then he did his Elon thing where he makes a Twitter poll for whatever reason. And he said, is it time to create a new political party in America that actually represents the 80% in the middle? Maybe throwing himself as a contender personally in politics. And then he also starts talking shit on tariffs. The Trump tariffs will cause a recession in the second half of this year. So he's going full mask off, which is also implying that he had all these opinions while working with Trump and at Doge, but withheld them. It also implies that he knowingly worked with a pedophile for his own personal gains. And the only reason he outed Trump as a pedophile is because he didn't like the direction Trump was going. It's not the greatest look for Elon here. It's not like he left and then he was like, dude, he was a pedophile. He was cool with him being a pedophile up until he thought he was running the country in a way that was bad, in his own opinion. Like that's what finally was like, you know what? That's too far. And Trump, if you guys don't know, has replied to all of this. Trump has replied to all of Elon's comments of calling him a pedophile on the Epstein lists and all the shit talk. And he said, I'm very disappointed. So not really the fiery comeback that we're maybe used to with Donald Trump. Maybe he's being held back by his team here. I will say it's a bit weak. It is a bit weak. Okay. It's not the best reply. He's preparing the diss track. Yeah, but that's too late already. If he kept up with Kendrick and Drake, he should have known that he needed to have his diss track ready to release the moment that Elon dropped his. He's way too late. There were some funny tweets out of it, though. I think a lot of people are expressing the sentiment. I hope both teams lose. This is like Drake versus Drake diss track. But I think probably the best tweet was from Ashley St. Clair, who is Elon Musk's baby mama, and said, "Hey, Donald Trump, let me know if you need any breakup advice." Which, pretty fire. I'll give it to Ashley. That's pretty fire. If there was ever time to drop it. But yeah, in general, that is kind of where we leave off. And the question now, Trump has urged for the Senate to pass this bill by July 4th, because I think he wants to sign it on Independence Day. And the question is what the Senate will do with this bill. And I think before today, there was a real chance, I would say a high chance, that the Republicans would get this bill forward because they have the majority. And the only outspoken voice against it was Rand Paul. But they only needed 51 of their 53 seats. But if Elon is able to gain any support from his base to get a couple other Republican senators who are on the fence to flip, then maybe the bill will not pass. So we'll see. We'll see. I do think it'd be pretty bad if it passed. But it is fully in the Republican hands. Weren't there other voices of opposition? There's a lot of Republican House members who are in opposition, but they already passed it, so I think it's fully irrelevant. Like Marjorie Taylor Greene came out today and said she's against it, and it's like, bro, who gives a fuck? You're in the House. It's too late. You choked. She voted for it. I know. She voted for it, and then she came out today and she's like, I wouldn't vote for it. And I was like, you had a chance at doing that and you didn't do it. It doesn't matter. Not only did she say she wouldn't vote for it, she said she didn't know about she didn't know about the part of the bill. And if she had known about it, she wouldn't have voted for it. But I feel like her job should be to know what the parts of the bills are. There's an AI provision. I would have voted no if I had known. And I believe the AI provision is that for the next 10 years, states cannot have any restrictions on regulating artificial intelligence, which is very weird for the federal government to restrict the ability to restrict from the states. I would call that probably an overstep. I don't think our forefathers would like our separation of our federal government and states to be taken away by the federal government. What's crazy is this is also like, politics are really confusing to me because I feel like I had a structure of what the Republican Party was like and what the Democratic Party was like. But the Republican Party makes no fucking sense to me at all whatsoever anymore. I don't understand it. Like, I had the idea that the Republican Party liked small government. liked very little overstepping of the federal government and let everything be decided by the states, and didn't like spending. And the only thing that I think aligns with traditional Republican values that's in this bill is tax cuts. That's like the only thing. Everything else has basically been like walked back. And you can find, probably 25 of the 53 Republican senators all saying in the past 5 years that we need to reduce spending and we need to reduce our debt. And now all of them are also down to increase our debt by $2.4 trillion. So it doesn't make any damn sense to me. Politics make me depressed. Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. They are depressing. Republicans are depressing. Yeah. But you would be dumb not to also acknowledge how no matter how bad the Republicans fuck up, the Democrats can't just put one face in front of their party that people can rally behind. Like they got 80 million constituents and somehow they just can't find one person that can be the face of it. Everyone keeps just saying Bernie Sanders 20 years ago through a time machine. It's too late. It's too late for Bernie Sanders 20 years ago in a time machine. Yeah, I think the front runners right now are like Pete Buttigieg, AOC, and maybe Gavin Newsom, but he kind of looks like an evil person. I just don't. He looks like Mr. Burns when he was younger. He just looks evil. I don't know what it is. Every time I look at a picture of Gavin Newsom, it reminds me of the villain from the Santa Claus. Do you guys remember the Tim Allen Santa Claus movies? In the Santa Claus, I think 2. Yeah, in the Santa Claus 2, there was like an evil Santa Claus that looked like weirdly perfect. Yeah, this is it. Okay, so this is Gavin Newsom, and then this is Tim Allen in the Santa Claus 2. And there's something always off-putting about him because he looked a little too plastic and a little too white. And that when I see Gavin Newsom, that's literally all I can see. It's all I can see. I think that's honestly enough for me. He's your governor? Yeah, no, I feel fine saying this still. Even though he was featured on the hit podcast Lemonade Stand. He still looks like a demon. I can say that. I'm judging the man's looks. I can't do this. Anyway, chat, that is it. That is it. This is not a... This is not an in-depth dive. This is an overview as far as what I understand to be happening. So I'm sure I missed stuff, but I hope I covered the bases well enough to help understand what's happening. Horrible job. We'll take it.